Are you lonely and depressed? 9 Stoic Lessons to Combat Loneliness and Depression. Stoicism. Welcome back to Stoic in Your Life, where we uncover the timeless teachings of Stoicism to help you navigate life's toughest emotional struggles. Today, we're focusing on a deeply personal question. Are you feeling lonely or depressed? Loneliness and depression are challenges we all face at some point. But what if you could approach them differently? In this video, we'll uncover 9 powerful Stoic lessons that will not only help you understand these emotions better, but also offer you practical tools to regain control of your thoughts, actions, and overall sense of well-being. Through the wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, you'll discover that inner peace isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about how you respond to it. As we go through these lessons, I encourage you to reflect on how you can apply them to your own life. Can these teachings help shift your perspective and empower you to overcome feelings of isolation? Stay with us as we dive into these transformative lessons. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, as your personal insights can be just as valuable to others on their journey. Let's start this path to conquering loneliness and finding peace within yourself. Lesson 1. Focus on personal growth. Our first lesson is about personal growth, and it's essential for men aged 30 to 65 who may be struggling with these emotions in silence, feeling disconnected from themselves and the world around them. It's easy to get lost in the day-to-day hustle of life, where time seems to slip away, leaving us wondering whether we are truly progressing. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In Stoicism, personal growth isn't just about ticking off achievements, but about continuously evolving, becoming stronger, and refining your character. Life is not about reaching a final destination. Instead, it's about growing through every experience, whether it's joyful or painful. This process of becoming better every day is what separates a fulfilled life from a life that feels stagnant. Growth isn't about external success, but mastering your reactions, learning to become resilient in the face of adversity, and honing your inner strengths. Many men, especially within the age range of 30 to 65, often feel that their life should already be figured out, which makes it harder to accept the need for further growth. The pressure of societal expectations can lead to feelings of inadequacy when milestones aren't achieved by a certain age. However, the beauty of personal growth lies in the fact that it's never too late to begin. And Stoicism teaches us that true growth comes from within, not from external markers of success. The first step is to set goals, and not just the typical career or financial goals, but personal goals that challenge your mindset. Are you striving to become more patient, kinder, or more disciplined? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This mindset shift is crucial. You must actively seek opportunities to grow every day, whether it's through learning, reading, or even self-reflection. Growth can only occur when you take the time to reflect on your thoughts and behaviors. Ask yourself, what went well today? What could I improve on tomorrow? This form of self-reflection keeps you accountable and prevents you from stagnating in the same patterns that might be contributing to your loneliness or depression. It's essential to remember that this growth journey is never linear. You will have setbacks, but these are part of the process, and as long as you learn from them, you are still progressing. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body, said Seneca. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger. In modern life, distractions are everywhere, pulling our focus away from ourselves. Social media, career stress, family obligations, they can all make us feel overwhelmed and disconnected from the person we want to become. Instead of growing, we often become stuck in routines that don't serve us. One way to combat this is to practice mindfulness. Stoics believed in the power of awareness, being present in each moment and acknowledging the emotions that come with it. By tuning into how you feel and why you feel a certain way, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself, which is the first step toward personal growth. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-discipline. Growth isn't just about thinking positively, but about taking action, no matter how uncomfortable or difficult it may be. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you want to combat loneliness or depression, you have to actively work on yourself every day. It could be as simple as setting a morning routine that encourages productivity, or committing to small, achievable goals that boost your confidence. Over time, these small habits compound and lead to significant personal growth. One common issue for many men is feeling like they've plateaued, especially when responsibilities seem overwhelming, leaving little time for self-care or personal reflection. However, personal growth doesn't require hours of time each day. It can happen in small moments, in the choices you make, and in how you respond to everyday challenges. Growth happens when you learn to control your emotions, prioritize self-discipline, and work on becoming the best version of yourself, not for the approval of others, but for your own peace of mind. By focusing on growth, you also create a sense of purpose. Purpose is critical for battling loneliness because it gives you something to focus on, other than the emptiness that often accompanies isolation. If you feel lost or unsure about where to begin, remember this: he who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing. Start small. Start by becoming the best version of yourself in the smallest ways, and watch as this trickles into every aspect of your life. Modern life can leave many men feeling like they have missed their chance to grow or evolve, especially when past mistakes or failures loom over them. But Stoicism teaches us that each day is a fresh opportunity. Personal growth is not bound by age, status, or circumstance. You can always grow if you choose to focus on self-improvement. The journey of growth will help you combat feelings of loneliness and depression because it reminds you that you have the power to change your life. Remember, your worth is not determined by your past or by external factors. It is determined by how you choose to grow from your experiences. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This quote by Aristotle reflects the Stoic approach to personal growth. It's about consistency. Every day is a chance to be better than you were yesterday, and this growth is what will ultimately bring fulfillment and help you overcome feelings of despair. So, the next time you feel trapped by loneliness or weighed down by depression, shift your focus to your growth. Ask yourself, what can I do today to become a better version of myself? Whether it's taking a small step toward a new goal, practicing self-reflection, or simply controlling your reactions to life's challenges, growth is within your control. As you embrace this mindset, you'll find that not only do you start to combat these negative emotions, but you begin to replace them with a sense of empowerment, purpose, and inner peace. And that, ultimately, is the key to a more fulfilling life. Lesson 2. Find satisfaction in simplicity. In today's fast-paced world, the message of simplicity is often drowned out by the noise of consumerism and the constant desire for more. We are bombarded with the idea that happiness is found in acquiring more possessions, achieving more success, and reaching for higher social status. But is that truly where satisfaction lies? The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, offer a radically different approach. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This teaching, though ancient, holds profound relevance today. How often have you found yourself chasing after things, whether material goods, career goals, or relationships, only to feel emptier than before? Simplicity isn't about depriving yourself of joy. It's about stripping away the excess that clouds your ability to appreciate what you already have. The constant pursuit of more often leads to a cycle of dissatisfaction, where each new achievement or possession only briefly fulfills before giving way to the next desire. Take a moment to think about your daily routine. How many unnecessary complications have you allowed into your life? Whether it's clutter in your home, overcommitment at work, or chasing after things that add little value to your well-being, it's easy to get lost in the noise. The Stoic approach calls for a return to simplicity, focusing on what truly matters. In modern life, we might compare this to the concept of minimalism. It's not just about decluttering your physical space, but also your mental and emotional space. By reducing unnecessary distractions, you create room for meaningful experiences, deeper relationships, and a clearer sense of purpose. Consider this story. A successful businessman who spent his whole life amassing wealth and possessions finally realized that despite his financial success, he was deeply unhappy. His relationships were strained, his health was suffering, and he felt disconnected from the world around him. It wasn't until he began simplifying his life, letting go of the excess and focusing on the essentials, that he found true peace and satisfaction. This isn't just a feel-good story. It's a powerful reminder that the path to fulfillment is often found not in accumulating more, but in appreciating less. Can you relate to this? Have you ever found that having too much, whether it's commitments, possessions, or expectations, actually makes you feel more stressed, more anxious, and ultimately less satisfied? Simplicity, in the Stoic sense, is about finding contentment in what you already have and learning to desire less. This doesn't mean you shouldn't aspire to improve your life or achieve goals, but it means recognizing when those aspirations are driven by societal pressures rather than your own values. What if you could find satisfaction in the small things, the things that truly matter? A warm meal, a meaningful conversation, a moment of stillness in nature. These are the moments that bring real joy and fulfillment. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." When you begin to embrace simplicity, you start to notice that your life becomes richer in the things that matter most. You become more present, more grateful for what you have, and less distracted by the pursuit of things that don't actually add value to your life. This shift in mindset is incredibly empowering because it places control back in your hands. Instead of feeling constantly pulled by external desires or societal expectations, you start to cultivate inner peace and satisfaction. But this requires a conscious effort. Ask yourself, what in your life is unnecessary, and what can you let go of to make space for the things that truly matter? One practical way to start embracing simplicity is to practice gratitude. Each day, take time to reflect on the things you already have, whether it's your health, your relationships, or even the small joys of life like a good cup of coffee. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you begin to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. And with that shift comes a greater sense of contentment and fulfillment. But it's not just about feeling good at the moment. This practice of finding satisfaction in simplicity has long-term benefits, both for your mental well-being and for your relationships with others. When you stop chasing after the next best thing, you free yourself to enjoy the present moment and the people around you. You become less stressed, less anxious, and more connected to your true self. Consider how this lesson can be applied in various areas of your life. At work, for example, how many of your tasks are essential and how many are just distractions? In your personal life, are you spending time and energy on things that truly bring you joy, or are you caught up in the race to keep up with others? Simplifying these areas can lead to more focused, meaningful work and deeper, more fulfilling relationships. By consciously choosing to focus on what truly matters, you create a life that is not only simpler but also more aligned with your values and goals. It's important to remember that simplicity is not about deprivation or minimalism for its own sake. Rather, it's about cutting away the non-essential to reveal what's truly important. It's about learning to appreciate what you have rather than constantly yearning for what you don't. This is not just a Stoic principle, it's a universal truth that can transform how you live. As you reflect on this, ask yourself, what steps can you take today to simplify your life and find more satisfaction in the things that really matter? The lesson of simplicity is timeless, and its relevance in today's world is more significant than ever. By embracing simplicity, you gain clarity, reduce stress, and cultivate a deeper sense of satisfaction with life. You don't need to chase after every new trend or constantly strive for more to find happiness. Often the answer is found in stripping away the excess and focusing on the things that bring real value and meaning to your life. So, as you move forward, remember this. True wealth lies not in the abundance of possessions, but in the freedom from unnecessary desires. What will you let go of to simplify your life and find greater satisfaction? Lesson 3. Learn to let go. Letting go can be one of the hardest things to do, but it is also one of the most liberating. When you hold on to things, whether it be past mistakes, regrets, relationships, or even emotions, it keeps you stuck. It's as if you're carrying around a heavy backpack filled with burdens that no longer serve you. But what if you could let it go? What if you could put down that weight and walk freely into the next chapter of your life? In Stoicism, the concept of letting go is tied closely to the idea of accepting what you can and cannot control. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, once said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." This means that much of the stress and anxiety we feel stems from trying to control things we have no power over. So why hold on to them? Why waste your energy on things that are out of your hands? Think about the things you're holding on to in your own life right now. Is it a relationship that's no longer serving you, but you stay because it's comfortable? Is it a mistake you made in the past that continues to haunt you? Or maybe it's the fear of the future, the unknown that keeps you stuck in place, afraid to move forward. Learning to let go doesn't mean you're giving up or that you don't care. It means you're choosing peace over chaos, acceptance over resistance. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means making peace with what has happened and allowing yourself to move on without letting it define your future. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, said Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors. This insight holds just as much truth today as it did centuries ago. When you focus on controlling your thoughts rather than the uncontrollable events around you, you begin to see life differently. Many of us struggle with letting go because we believe that holding on to something will somehow change it. But ask yourself, has holding on to a negative thought or experience ever made you feel better? Has it helped you grow or become a better version of yourself? Most likely the answer is no. Clinging to the past only robs you of the present. What if, instead of holding on, you allowed yourself to release that emotional baggage? What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow without the weight of yesterday's regrets or fears? This is what the Stoics teach us, that freedom comes from letting go. He who is not content with what he has would not be content with what he would like to have, said Socrates. This quote reminds us that satisfaction and peace don't come from getting more, whether that's more control, more things, or more relationships. Peace comes from accepting and letting go of what you cannot change. Letting go also applies to our relationships with others. Sometimes we hold on to people who no longer align with the person we are becoming. We fear the discomfort of ending relationships or friendships, even though deep down, we know they are no longer serving us. But ask yourself, are you holding on to people who no longer fit in your life because you're afraid of change? Are you afraid of the discomfort that comes with letting go? Associate with people who are likely to improve you, said Seneca. If the people around you are draining your energy, holding you back, or encouraging you to stay stuck in negativity, it's time to let them go. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you should evaluate who is helping you grow and who is keeping you tethered to the past. Another critical area of life where letting go is important is in dealing with failure. How often do you beat yourself up for past mistakes? Maybe you didn't achieve a career goal, or perhaps a personal decision led to unwanted consequences. We all make mistakes, but the Stoics remind us that it's not the mistake itself that holds us back. It's our refusal to let go of it. If you continue to relive every wrong turn you've made, you prevent yourself from moving forward. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, said Marcus Aurelius. This means that even obstacles and failures can be stepping stones to growth if we allow them to be. Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the fear of failure. Embrace the lessons that come with every experience, and you'll find that life opens up in ways you never expected. Letting go is not an overnight process. It's something you must practice daily. Each day you make a choice. Do you hold on to the things that weigh you down, or do you release them and make space for new opportunities and experiences? What can you let go of today that will bring you closer to peace and happiness? How can you shift your mindset to focus on what you can control and release what you can't? Life is always changing, and clinging to the past only prevents you from embracing the beauty of what's to come. Letting go is about trusting that you can handle whatever comes next, without the need to control every outcome. It's about believing that your worth isn't tied to the mistakes you've made or the things you've lost, but rather how you choose to move forward. To live is to let go, the Stoics would say. It's a constant process of releasing what no longer serves you, whether it's physical things, emotional baggage, or limiting beliefs. When you let go, you free yourself. You open yourself up to new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities for growth. So, ask yourself, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of? What's keeping you from living fully and freely? By learning to let go, you'll find that life becomes a little lighter, a little clearer, and a lot more fulfilling. Lesson 4. Cultivate inner serenity. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, said Seneca, and this lesson could not be more relevant to the struggles of loneliness and depression that many men face today. If you're between the ages of 30 and 65, you may have found yourself weighed down by the responsibilities of life, career pressures, family obligations, and the inevitable march of time. These responsibilities often bring with them feelings of stress, anxiety, and even despair. The modern world demands constant engagement, whether it's at work or through the endless distractions of social media, and this can leave you feeling disconnected from your true self. But what if I told you that the answer to these feelings of overwhelm lies within you? The Stoics believed that cultivating inner serenity is key to overcoming emotional turbulence. Inner peace, after all, is not about controlling the world around you, but learning how to control your mind. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In today's fast-paced environment, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, to think that peace is something external, something you must chase or earn through success, wealth, or validation from others. But Stoicism teaches the opposite, that serenity is internal and must be cultivated from within. Inner serenity is not about avoiding challenges or pretending negative feelings don't exist. It's about accepting what you cannot change and learning to master your thoughts and emotions. How often do you find yourself worrying about things outside your control? Whether it's the outcome of a business deal, how others perceive you, or even what might happen in the future. These worries consume your energy and rob you of peace. The Stoics, however, teach us to focus on what is within our control. Ask yourself, how often do you let external circumstances dictate your happiness? If you're waiting for the world to change to find peace, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Instead, practice accepting that you cannot change the external world, but you can change your reaction to it. Cultivating inner serenity starts with understanding that your thoughts shape your reality. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea is incredibly powerful. It means that no matter what external events happen, Whether you lose a job, face rejection, or struggle in your relationships, the key to peace lies in how you choose to interpret and respond to those events. When you learn to master your thoughts, you begin to unlock the ability to remain calm and composed even in the face of adversity. But how do you do this in practical terms? It begins with mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present, observing your thoughts without judgment, and recognizing when your mind starts to wander into anxiety or stress. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you build the mental strength to detach from negative emotions and prevent them from taking control of your life. In the modern world, distractions are everywhere. You may be bombarded with notifications, social media feeds, emails, and endless work demands. All these distractions pull your attention away from your inner self and foster a sense of chaos. But what if you set aside time each day to reconnect with yourself? This could be through meditation, journaling, or simply taking a walk in nature. As Seneca noted, tranquility can only be achieved through detachment from the things that cause disturbances. By intentionally removing yourself from the noise, you create space for calm. Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to sit in silence without checking your phone or worrying about the next task? Cultivating inner peace is about creating those moments of quiet, where you can reflect, breathe, and regain your sense of balance. It's also important to remember that serenity doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges, but from learning how to face them with grace. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles are not things to fear, but opportunities for growth. Every time you encounter a setback, instead of letting it shake your inner calm, ask yourself what lesson you can learn from it. By reframing your challenges as opportunities for growth, you change the narrative in your mind and develop a mindset that is resilient and peaceful, even in adversity. You may be facing difficult circumstances, whether it's a personal loss, a financial setback, or simply a period of uncertainty. But remember that serenity comes from accepting what you cannot change and focusing on what you can control, your actions and your mindset. Another key to inner serenity is practicing gratitude. The Stoics believed in finding joy in what you have, rather than yearning for what you lack. Too often, we fall into the trap of thinking happiness lies in some future achievement or possession. But how often does that satisfaction fade once you get what you've been striving for? He who is not content with what he has would not be content with what he would like to have. Socrates reminds us, to cultivate inner serenity, practice gratitude daily. Focus on the things in your life that bring you peace, whether it's your health, your relationships, or even the simple joys of a quiet morning or a good meal. When you train your mind to appreciate what you have, you naturally reduce feelings of anxiety and stress about what you don't have. This shift in perspective helps you feel more grounded, content, and at peace with your life, as it is now. In today's world, many men between the ages of 30 and 65 feel a constant pressure to perform, to succeed, and to always be moving forward. This pressure can make it difficult to slow down and cultivate inner peace. But as you age, you begin to realize that the external success you've been chasing doesn't bring lasting happiness unless you pair it with inner calm. No amount of wealth or status can replace the sense of peace that comes from knowing you have control over your mind and emotions. When you cultivate inner serenity, you free yourself from the stress of external validation, and you allow yourself to live more fully in the present moment. So, ask yourself, what steps can you take today to cultivate more inner serenity? Can you set aside a few moments of quiet? Can you practice letting go of things outside your control? Can you find gratitude in the simple things around you? By cultivating inner serenity, you equip yourself with the tools to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. You learn to detach from the chaos around you and to find strength within. As the Stoics teach us, inner peace doesn't come from escaping the challenges of life. It comes from embracing them with a calm and focused mind. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Take control of your thoughts, focus on what you can change, and let go of the rest. Inner serenity isn't something you find, it's something you cultivate, and it starts with you. Thank you for being here and watching this video. How have you applied Stoic principles to help manage feelings of loneliness and depression in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If you're not sure what to comment, feel free to share which lesson resonated with you the most or how Stoicism has impacted your perspective on life. Lesson 5. Practice self-care. When was the last time you truly took care of yourself? It's a question that many of us overlook in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Men, especially those aged 30 to 65, are often conditioned to believe that putting their well-being first is a sign of weakness. In a society that values productivity, strength, and achievement, self-care can feel like a luxury rather than a necessity. However, Stoicism teaches us that caring for both our mind and body is essential for living a balanced and fulfilling life. As Seneca wisely stated, "We must take care of our minds, for we cannot expect our body to remain strong if the mind is weak." To combat loneliness and depression, you must start with yourself. Self-care is not about indulgence, it's about self-preservation and making sure you have the energy and mental clarity to face life's challenges. In today's world, where stress is almost a default state, practicing self-care has never been more critical. It's about creating time for yourself amid all the demands of work, family, and social obligations. But here's the thing. Self-care isn't just about spa days or relaxing weekends. It's much deeper than that. Self-care is about nurturing your mental, emotional, and physical health in ways that strengthen you long-term. Take a moment and think about how you spend your days. Are you constantly rushing from one task to another, feeling burnt out and disconnected from your own needs? Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." In other words, you must first understand yourself, what brings you peace, what stresses you out, and only then can you design your self-care routine to fit those needs. Let's look at a modern example. Consider a man in his early 40s who spends most of his time working long hours, neglecting his personal life in the process. He's been chasing career success, but lately he feels drained, unmotivated, and isolated. This man may convince himself that self-care is a waste of time because it doesn't contribute to his professional goals. But what he doesn't realize is that his neglect for his own well-being is actually hindering his ability to be successful in the long run. Over time, the lack of balance in his life begins to show in his declining mental health, and soon enough the depression creeps in. In moments like these, self-care is not just an option, it's a necessity. So why wait until you're burnt out to start taking care of yourself? Think about this. When was the last time you set aside time to reflect on your mental state? Are you taking moments to unwind, think clearly, and listen to your thoughts? It's easy to ignore the signs of stress and anxiety until they spiral into something bigger. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This quote emphasizes that our emotional well-being directly impacts how we see the world and ourselves. If you allow stress and negative thoughts to dominate your mind, they will inevitably impact your body and spirit. Practicing self-care helps you take control of those thoughts before they begin to control you. Self-care is also about setting boundaries. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, and without boundaries, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Do you ever feel like you're saying yes to everything, stretching yourself too thin? That's where boundaries come in. Learning to say no to certain demands, even from loved ones, is not selfish. It's necessary. When you prioritize your own well-being, you're in a better place to show up fully for others. Ask yourself, are you setting boundaries to protect your peace, or are you letting others dictate your energy? Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Exercise is another crucial part of self-care that often gets overlooked. Men between 30 and 65 may believe they're too busy to work out, or that they've passed the age where fitness matters. But the reality is, taking care of your body is taking care of your mind. Physical exercise doesn't just improve your body's condition. It boosts your mood, relieves stress, and gives you mental clarity. Seneca once said, "A sound mind and a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." When you exercise, you release endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that reduce feelings of depression and anxiety. Exercise is a powerful form of self-care that should not be ignored no matter your age. Let's not forget the importance of sleep. In a culture that glorifies the hustle, many men feel that sacrificing sleep is a necessary part of being successful. However, the Stoics understood the value of rest. Proper sleep is essential for recharging both your body and mind, and neglecting it only leads to exhaustion, irritability, and a weakened immune system. Have you ever noticed that when you don't get enough sleep, everything feels harder to manage? That's because your body and brain are not functioning at their full capacity. Rest when you're weary. Refresh and renew yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. Then get back to work, advised Epictetus. You owe it to yourself to get the rest you need to function at your best. On the emotional side of things, self-care involves processing your feelings and being kind to yourself. Men often shy away from expressing their emotions because they think it makes them appear weak. But Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from understanding and mastering your emotions. You don't need to hide from your feelings. You need to acknowledge them. Are you bottling up emotions because you're afraid of what others might think, or because you've been taught that showing emotion is a sign of weakness? "He who fears being conquered is sure of defeat," said Napoleon Bonaparte. If you're afraid to confront your emotions, you're letting them conquer you. Self-care means allowing yourself the space to feel, to heal, and to grow. Self-care isn't about perfection or following trends. It's about taking the time to care for the most important person in your life, you. Without proper self-care, feelings of loneliness and depression can easily take root. But when you consistently prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health, you build resilience, clarity, and strength. You start to understand that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's necessary for living a meaningful, productive life. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or disconnected, ask yourself, have I been taking care of myself? What can I do today that will nourish my body, mind, and spirit? Practicing self-care is the foundation for becoming the best version of yourself, and it starts with one simple step. Lesson 6. Develop an abundance mindset. Have you ever caught yourself constantly thinking about what's missing in your life? Maybe it's the job you didn't get, the relationship that didn't work out, or the money you wish you had. It's easy to fall into this trap of scarcity, where we focus on what we don't have rather than what we do. But what if you could flip that mindset and see the world through a lens of abundance, where opportunities and blessings are always available to you even in the darkest times? This is what the Stoics believed, and it's a powerful lesson for anyone dealing with loneliness and depression. As Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This quote highlights that abundance isn't about having more. It's about recognizing that you already have enough. The challenge is learning how to shift your perspective and focus on the wealth that surrounds you, whether it's in relationships, experiences, or even your own potential. Developing an abundance mindset is not just about thinking positively or pretending life's challenges don't exist. It's about training yourself to see the possibilities, the opportunities for growth, and the value in what you already possess. Start by looking at your daily life. Have you ever considered how much you already have, but overlook? It could be something as simple as a warm meal, a roof over your head, or friends who care about you. These are things that many take for granted, but they are powerful reminders that abundance already exists in your life. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. By learning to appreciate what you already have, you begin to attract more positive energy into your life, and the grip of loneliness and depression starts to loosen. Let's consider a modern story. Picture someone who's always chasing the next big thing. Maybe they're climbing the corporate ladder or trying to gain more material possessions, believing that with each new achievement or purchase, they'll finally feel complete. Yet, no matter what they achieve, it's never enough. The moment they reach one goal, they're already thinking about the next. This constant pursuit creates a cycle of dissatisfaction, where happiness is always just out of reach. This is the scarcity mindset at work, an endless craving for more, driven by the belief that they're not enough as they are. But now imagine if this person took a step back and shifted their focus from what they lack to what they already have. What if they realized that their health, their loved ones, and their current achievements were already sources of wealth? By making this shift, they would start to feel more content, more fulfilled, and less anxious about the future. Can you relate to this? Do you find yourself caught in the same cycle of chasing more while missing the richness of the present moment? An abundance mindset can also change how you approach challenges and setbacks. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, you begin to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise, and if you shift your mindset, you can use it to your advantage. So, when life throws challenges your way, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this help me grow? By asking these questions, you move from a place of lack and fear to a place of abundance, where every experience, good or bad, becomes valuable. One key to developing an abundance mindset is practicing gratitude daily. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance. When you take time each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, you begin to see how much you truly have. It could be as simple as being grateful for your health, for waking up each morning, or for the relationships that bring joy to your life. When was the last time you genuinely expressed gratitude for the small things? As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you train yourself to focus on gratitude and abundance, your outlook on life will change, and you'll start to feel more connected and less lonely. Another aspect of the abundance mindset is recognizing that there is enough for everyone. Too often, we compare ourselves to others, feeling like their success somehow diminishes our own. But abundance teaches us that someone else's success doesn't take away from ours. In fact, their achievements can inspire us to reach greater heights. When you embrace abundance, you no longer see life as a competition where only a few can win. Instead, you understand that there's enough opportunity, love, and success to go around. Are you someone who feels envy when others succeed? What if, instead, you saw their success as proof that great things are possible even for you? Lastly, developing an abundance mindset means being generous. When you give, whether it's your time, your knowledge, or your resources, you're reinforcing the idea that there's plenty to go around. You're sending a message to yourself and the world that you believe in abundance, that you trust there's always more to come, and in return, you often receive more than you gave. Seneca put it beautifully. No one is so generous as he who has nothing left to give. Giving creates a cycle of abundance, where generosity flows back to you in unexpected ways. Have you ever noticed how good it feels to give without expecting anything in return? That's abundance in action. At the heart of Stoicism is the belief that we control our reactions to life, not the external world. Developing an abundance mindset is about choosing to see the world as full of possibilities rather than limitations. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything, you can control how you perceive your circumstances. So ask yourself, where in your life can you start practicing abundance? Can you be more grateful for what you already have? Can you view your challenges as opportunities? Can you be more generous with what you have? By cultivating this mindset, you open yourself up to a life filled with possibility, growth, and deep fulfillment. And as you shift from scarcity to abundance, you'll find that loneliness and depression have less power over you because you're no longer focused on what's missing. You're focused on what's possible. Lesson 7. Cultivate meaningful relationships. Have you ever found yourself surrounded by people but still feeling completely alone? This kind of loneliness isn't about the absence of others, but about the absence of genuine connection. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into shallow, surface-level relationships that fail to nourish your soul. But Stoicism teaches us that cultivating deep, meaningful relationships is one of the most powerful ways to combat feelings of loneliness and depression. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." This is at the heart of meaningful relationships, the ability to connect with others in a way that makes you feel seen, valued, and understood. It's not about how many people are in your life. It's about the depth of the relationships you cultivate. So how do you start building these connections, especially when loneliness has become a familiar companion? First, it's essential to understand that meaningful relationships take effort, vulnerability, and time. In an age of social media and instant gratification, real relationships are not about quick connections but about consistent, genuine engagement. You can't expect to cultivate deep relationships if you're not willing to show up for others and, most importantly, be honest with yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. It requires being prepared to confront what comes your way." Just like Stoicism teaches us to face life's challenges, it also reminds us that relationships are not always easy. They require resilience, empathy, and at times confrontation with your own fears of vulnerability and rejection. Consider a man in his mid-40s who has spent years focused solely on his career, building success in the workplace, but neglecting his personal relationships. Over time, he realizes that despite all his professional achievements, he feels disconnected, alone, and emotionally drained. His network is full of colleagues, but there's no one he can turn to when life gets tough. This is a common scenario, especially for men between 30 and 65. Society often tells us to prioritize success, but at what cost? When was the last time you truly invested in a friendship or relationship that brought value to your life outside of work? If you find yourself lacking meaningful connections, it's time to shift your focus. Meaningful relationships are built on mutual trust, shared values, and open communication. To create these bonds, you must be willing to be vulnerable. Many men are conditioned to think that vulnerability is a weakness, but in reality, it's a strength. Sharing your struggles, fears, and even failures with others allows for a deeper connection. "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say," said Epictetus. Listening is an essential part of building relationships, and it's often overlooked. When you truly listen to someone, you make them feel valued, and in turn, they're more likely to open up to you. This kind of exchange creates the foundation for a relationship that is rooted in respect and understanding. Another critical aspect of cultivating meaningful relationships is reciprocity. Relationships are a two-way street, and they thrive when there is a balance of give and take. Think about the people in your life. Are you giving as much as you're receiving? Sometimes we fall into relationships where we expect more from others than we're willing to offer ourselves. To build deep connections, you must be willing to support others just as they support you. This doesn't always mean grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as being there to listen or offering encouragement when someone is going through a difficult time. Friendship is always a sweet responsibility, never an opportunity, said Khalil Gibran. Relationships should never be transactional, and when you approach them with the mindset of giving without expectation, you naturally build stronger connections. In modern life, meaningful relationships can also be cultivated through shared experiences. Whether it's participating in group activities, hobbies, or even taking time to enjoy simple moments with friends and loved ones. These shared experiences create lasting bonds. Instead of focusing on digital interactions and fleeting exchanges, prioritize face-to-face interactions that allow you to connect on a deeper level. In a world where technology often replaces real conversations, take the time to invest in personal encounters that nurture your soul. Ask yourself, when was the last time you spent quality time with someone, fully present and engaged, without distractions? Stoicism also reminds us that while cultivating meaningful relationships is vital, it's equally important to let go of relationships that no longer serve us. Holding on to toxic or unbalanced relationships can drain your energy and hinder your ability to build meaningful connections with others. As hard as it may be, part of cultivating strong relationships is knowing when to walk away from those that bring negativity or emotional harm into your life. Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This applies not only to material possessions, but also to relationships. Seeking more from people who cannot give you what you need can leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, challenge you to grow, and bring joy into your life. Now you may be wondering, how do you find and build these meaningful relationships, especially if you've been feeling isolated for a while? Start by identifying the people in your life who share your values and interests. Join groups or communities that align with your passions, whether it's a hobby, a sport, or a cause you care about. Meaningful relationships often stem from shared purpose, and by surrounding yourself with people who are on the same wavelength, you increase your chances of forming lasting bonds. And remember, quality always trumps quantity when it comes to relationships. You don't need a large circle of friends to feel connected. Just a few deep, meaningful relationships can provide the support and companionship you need. Cultivating meaningful relationships is not just about feeling less lonely. It's about enriching your life with connections that inspire, support, and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. So ask yourself, are the relationships in your life serving you? Are you investing enough in the people who truly matter? What can you do today to deepen your connections and create more fulfilling relationships? As you reflect on these questions, remember that the foundation of any meaningful relationship is trust, vulnerability, and mutual respect. By focusing on these principles, you'll build relationships that not only help you combat loneliness and depression, but also bring joy and fulfillment into your life. If you've made it this far, you're truly committed to your personal growth. Drop a comment saying, "I choose peace," to show you're ready to embrace these Stoic lessons and take control of your emotions. Stay with us. There's so much more to come on this journey. Lesson 8. Find purpose in your actions. Finding purpose in your actions is one of the most important steps you can take toward overcoming feelings of loneliness and depression. Many of us go through life on autopilot, doing the things we feel we're supposed to do, but without fully understanding why. This lack of purpose can make even the most productive days feel empty and unfulfilling. Stoicism teaches us that in order to live a meaningful life, we need to align our actions with a sense of purpose. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This message emphasizes that purpose is not something we find outside of ourselves, but something we create through our choices, our values, and how we spend each day. It's about transforming your daily tasks, no matter how small, into acts of meaning and intention. Think about your daily routine. Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions, unsure of what all your hard work is really for? Many men, especially those aged 30 to 65, fall into this trap of working tirelessly without a clear sense of what they're working toward. It's easy to get stuck in the mindset of simply checking things off a list, but Stoicism challenges us to see beyond that. The idea is that each action, no matter how mundane, can contribute to a greater goal if you approach it with the right mindset. Take a moment and ask yourself, what's the bigger picture behind your actions? Are they aligned with the person you want to be or the life you want to lead? This reflective process is crucial because without purpose, it's easy to feel adrift, which only feeds feelings of loneliness and depression. Finding purpose isn't always about grand gestures or life-changing decisions. Sometimes it's as simple as doing what you're already doing, but with more awareness of how it fits into your long-term values and goals. For instance, if your job feels unfulfilling, instead of quitting and searching for some undefined, perfect career, think about how your work can serve a purpose. Maybe it's providing for your family, contributing to your community, or allowing you to develop skills that will serve you in the future. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This teaches us that purpose is about taking responsibility for the choices you make, ensuring that your actions align with the vision you have for your life. Let's consider a modern example. A man in his 50s has spent the last 25 years building a career he once thought would bring him happiness and fulfillment. Yet now, he feels disconnected and wonders if any of it really matters. The problem isn't his work, it's the lack of purpose behind it. He spends his days solving problems and meeting deadlines, but without any connection to a deeper meaning, he feels lost. Now, what if this same man took a step back and asked himself what his true values are? If he discovers that his purpose is to help others or to leave a positive mark on the world, he can begin to infuse his daily tasks with that sense of mission. Suddenly, the same job that felt meaningless becomes an opportunity to serve others, mentor younger colleagues, or contribute to something greater than himself. This shift in perspective is what turns routine actions into purposeful ones. Purpose also plays a crucial role in how we handle adversity. When you have a strong sense of purpose, setbacks and challenges become more manageable because you know they're part of a larger journey. Without purpose, obstacles can feel overwhelming, leaving you feeling defeated. But when your actions are guided by purpose, you see these challenges as opportunities for growth and resilience. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that difficulties aren't meant to stop us, but to strengthen us. If you know your purpose, even the hardest moments can have meaning, because they're pushing you towards something bigger. Purpose doesn't have to be tied to your career or even your productivity. It can be found in the small, everyday moments of life. Being a good friend, supporting your family, taking care of your health. These can all be actions filled with purpose if you view them through the right lens. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, what am I going to do today that will make a difference no matter how small? How can I act in a way that brings me closer to the person I want to be? These questions encourage you to find purpose not just in what you do, but in how you do it. It's not about perfection, but about progress, moving in the direction of your values one action at a time. Living with purpose also helps you connect with others. When your actions are meaningful to you, they often resonate with those around you, building stronger relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who are living with intention because it inspires them to do the same. Seneca said, "The wise man does nothing reluctantly or under compulsion. He does what is right because it is right." Living with purpose isn't about external rewards or recognition. It's about doing what feels right for you and letting that guide your decisions. This, in turn, helps foster more authentic connections with the people in your life. So how do you find purpose in a world full of distractions, where it's easy to get caught up in the noise? Start by reflecting on what truly matters to you. What are the values that guide your life? Is it integrity, kindness, growth, or something else? Once you identify those values, look for ways to align your actions with them, even in the small tasks you do each day. Purpose isn't something you achieve and then forget about. It's a mindset you cultivate continuously. Ask yourself, what can I do today to live more purposefully? How can I make my actions reflect my deepest values? Finding purpose in your actions is about seeing the bigger picture and understanding how each step you take leads you closer to the life you want to live. It's about creating meaning in everything you do, whether big or small, and knowing that every action has the potential to contribute to your growth and fulfillment. When you live with purpose, loneliness and depression lose their grip because you're no longer wandering through life without direction. You're moving with intention. As you go through your day, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose thoughts that reflect your purpose and let them guide you in all that you do. Lesson 9. Live in the present. Living in the present is one of the core teachings of Stoicism, and it's something we all struggle with at times, especially when feelings of loneliness and depression take hold. It's easy to get caught up in the past, replaying mistakes, missed opportunities, or events that didn't go as planned. Or we can find ourselves worrying constantly about the future, about what might happen, what could go wrong, or what we haven't achieved yet. This tendency to dwell on the past or fear the future robs us of the only thing we truly have, the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, put it simply, "The present moment is all we ever have." But how often do we actually live in it? How often do you allow yourself to fully experience what is happening right now, without being distracted by thoughts of what has been or what might come? Think about the times when you've been physically present but mentally elsewhere. Maybe you're at dinner with friends, but instead of enjoying their company, your mind is on a work deadline or a past argument. Or perhaps you're spending time with family, but instead of savoring the moment, you're worrying about bills or tasks you need to accomplish later. This kind of mental drifting is common, but it leads to a sense of disconnection, not only from others but also from yourself. When you're not present, you miss out on the richness of life's experiences. Stoicism teaches us that the key to a more fulfilling life is to ground ourselves in the present moment, to fully engage with what is happening around us. The more we practice this, the more connected and alive we feel, which helps combat loneliness and depression. Living in the present is not just about mindfulness or being aware of your surroundings. It's also about accepting what is happening right now, without resistance. Many times we waste energy fighting against the present, wishing things were different or holding on to the belief that life should be easier or more comfortable. But Epictetus reminds us, it is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. In other words, what causes suffering is not the events themselves, but how we choose to react to them. If you can learn to accept the present as it is, without trying to change it or escape from it, you'll find that many of the burdens you carry start to lighten. Ask yourself, what am I resisting in this moment? How can I accept what is happening rather than wishing it were different? One of the biggest challenges in living in the present is letting go of the past. For many of us, past experiences, whether they're regrets, losses, or mistakes, linger in our minds, creating feelings of guilt, shame, or sadness. But dwelling on the past only keeps us trapped there. Seneca said, "What is the use of worrying about things you cannot control? Let the past go. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can change how you respond to it now." What if, instead of reliving past mistakes, you saw them as opportunities for growth? What if, instead of holding on to past hurts, you focused on healing and moving forward? Living in the present means understanding that the past has already played out, and it no longer has power over you unless you allow it to. Similarly, worrying about the future is another major roadblock to living in the present. Anxiety about what might happen tomorrow, next week, or even next year prevents you from fully experiencing today. It's easy to get caught up in what-if scenarios, but these fears often exist only in our minds. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You don't control the future, but you do control how you handle the present. Worrying about the future won't change what happens. It will only drain your energy and prevent you from enjoying what's happening right now. How often do you miss out on the joys of today because you're too busy worrying about tomorrow? In modern life, distractions are everywhere. Our phones, social media, and the constant flow of information pull us away from the present moment. It's easy to become consumed by the digital world, constantly scrolling through updates, checking messages, or following the latest news. But while you're doing that, life is happening right in front of you, and you're missing it. Living in the present means putting down the distractions and engaging with the world around you. When was the last time you had a conversation without checking your phone? When was the last time you took a walk without headphones or sat quietly with your thoughts? These simple actions can help bring you back to the present, where life is happening in real time. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the future or abandoning your goals. It's about finding balance. You can still plan for the future, but don't let those plans consume you. You can learn from the past, but don't let it define you. The Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our control, and the present moment is the only thing we truly have control over. Everything else, whether it's the past or the future, is out of our hands. So why waste time worrying about things you cannot change? Instead, focus on what you can do right now, in this moment, to make the most of your life. Living in the present is about freeing yourself from the mental traps of the past and the future. It's about grounding yourself in the here and now, fully engaging with life as it unfolds. When you do this, you not only combat feelings of loneliness and depression, but you also open yourself up to the beauty of everyday experiences. You become more connected with yourself, with others, and with the world around you. So, ask yourself, what can I do today to live more in the present? How can I let go of past regrets and future worries, and instead focus on the richness of life right now? As you reflect on these questions, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose to focus on the present moment, and you'll discover a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Thank you for watching this video. As we've discussed, applying Stoic principles can transform how you face life's challenges, helping you cultivate inner peace and find meaning even in the most difficult moments. By embracing these teachings, you can take control of your thoughts, build stronger relationships, and discover a deeper sense of purpose each day. How will you start using these lessons in your daily life? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how Stoicism has impacted you personally. If you found value in these lessons, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with those who might benefit, and subscribe to Stoic in your life. For more content like this, hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's keep growing and thriving together, one Stoic lesson at a time. See you in the next video.